Hi, welcome to Entrepreneurial Finance. This is the introduction of the course, so it will be a brief video that explains what are the main things we are planning to do during this course. So first of all, what is this course about? What is entrepreneurial finance? What we do is that we give an overview of the different financing challenges that innovative projects and technology startups face. What does this mean? That we aim to cover from the basics, the concepts, to more applied elements. This includes aspects like valuation, funding rounds, to understand how, for example, investors behave and how they think. We also will cover a little bit on venture capital, including like maybe seed investments and other types of VC activity that you might have heard already about. And we will also be looking at financing strategies. The topic of financing strategies is important because this applies to almost any type of project that you want to run. You need to think about where does my resources come from, where can I get funding for my ideas, for my innovative projects. Next, what we also are trying to do is that we are trying to develop this capacity to think about and develop your own financing strategies. The whole story here is that they need to be linked to your technology development project. Why? Because when you are trying to ask for resources and funding, what you're trying to do is also trying to see whether those resources and funding are suitable and are well structured in relation to what you want to do in your project, what you need to do. It's very different from developing a new biotechnological solution than on trying to set up maybe a new restaurant. So the funding that is behind needs to match the type of project that you're running. And this is something we will need to be aware and need to understand the different options and choices. We are mostly focusing, as the third point highlights, on high technology projects. When we say high technology, what we are trying to actually label here is projects where the technology has a substantial part and where there is some level of uncertainty still in the technology development. So those projects are a bit more difficult, a bit more complex than other types of projects. And the reason why is because meanwhile the market is evolving or changing, or the customers are starting to develop, you are still working on the technology. You are still finishing to develop maybe the first prototype or the first elements. This increases uncertainty, and that's something interesting for us because it makes things more difficult, but also it's where we can actually help and see how this finance perspective can help us. It's also important that you will see that we highlight during the whole course that the objective is that we learn the basics of finance and accounting that are both useful for an entrepreneur that is starting together with the team or by themselves the new project, but we also want this to be interesting and useful for someone that is in a company and is maybe for first time trying to lead the project. And then you need to understand, for example, how to prepare a budget, how to prepare those elements that you will need in order to maybe get funding from your corporate development department or another person in your organization. We believe that both things are actually very similar when it comes to structuring cash flows, knowing where the money will be coming in, which first investments you will have to be doing. So this entrepreneurial finance fits well both these innovative projects and also the new startup creation type of steps. What we will be doing always is trying to combine concepts, models, theories, but also then trying to bring some reality in the class. So for example, trying to look at real cases, real examples, small exercises that allow us to start applying those concepts. This is this constant dialogue that we will be engaging in. An overall picture on how does the overall course dynamics work. What you will be seeing is that we will be having components that will be basically mentioning or clarifying the basic concepts, the more maybe developed concepts or complex concepts. We will be using some models that help us to represent what is going on. You will see that we end up also using a few formulas. That is what financial theory has been developing and allows us to kind of apply those formulas and make in a kind of a summarized way what we are trying to analyze or see. We will be making use of templates. Templates are very good shortcuts to be quicker to try to apply those concepts without losing too much time. Always important to remember that templates sometimes are, now if we use them as a shortcut, it also means that they might have assumptions behind that we need to be aware of, because maybe in some cases the template is using assumptions that don't fit well with the case that we are actually analyzing. So that's something that we will need to be a bit critical about. As I was mentioning, we will have application in small exercises that will also allow us to gain confidence and then get ready for the more complete assignments and applications that will be taking a bit more of our time. At the end, what we try to follow is an accumulative learning approach where we understand concepts, models, small parts, and then we are trying to get ready for the big assignments that are closer to what might happen in reality in a real project. More details are also in the course syllabus or course description. So, at the end of the course, what can you expect? So what you will be getting is that you will be able to get a financial perspectives of projects. The objective is that you see this as part of your normal work, that you are not a financial maybe expert, but at least you are not intimidated and you are comfortable with those concepts. What is also important is that you will be able to get some first-hand experience on accounting related issues. Again, the objective is not to be an accountant. The objective is to be able to not be intimidated or getting confused with some of the accounting protocols or ways of working, so that you are familiar with them and you can quickly get the type of information that you need. So we do this by applying concepts, discussing finance-related topics, for example, topics that might be related to the current news or updates that are happening in the markets, in the financial markets. So we will try to always keep this dialogue back and forth. Also, the overall expectation you should have is that you will have time to practice the concepts, you will have time to apply them, and you will also have time to develop your own thoughts, your own viewpoints on this topic. What do I expect? I expect that we will have interesting discussions on the topic. This is a topic that is quite fascinating. It sits in between engineering management, technology management, and financial management. So there are many different views that are sometimes kind of overlapping into the same area. I also expect that you are ready to participate, discuss in one way or another, sharing your own views, even if they are maybe different from my perspective or my opinion, always trying to kind of learn from each other, and that you do the best to follow the course timeline. Falling behind will make it a bit difficult for you to be ready for the exam. So that's something that it's important that you kind of pace yourself during the whole course. To get started today, there is a quiz that allows to kind of set your own understanding of the different terms right now. Don't take it as an exam, it's just a quiz to see where we are right now. This is it for today.